Hello, Tradies in Business podcast listeners right around Australia and New Zealand, and g'day to any of our overseas listeners as well, while I pad out so Nicole's got her joke ready.
I was ready to go before you started the padding, but hello everyone.
All right, you just had a panicked look on your face. I wasn't sure if you were actually ready.
Not I'd bookmarked one. You ready?
Let's go.
So we've been having a bit of trouble in the house of late. My daughter feels like I'm not giving her enough privacy. Well, at least that's what I read in her diary.
Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nick unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
Okay, and we're back.
We have to get feedback about these jokes, otherwise I wouldn't do them.
We have to play the music just like as a palate cleanser.
It's very upbeat.
Yes. I kind of like our new music. I love a bit of bass. Do you like a bit of bass, Coxie?
It's all about that bass.
Oh, no. The joke's finished. Hello to all of the Coxie fan club and the joke supporters.
Thank you.
Thank you for encouraging Coxie to keep going with the jokes.
I feel like it's been a while between drinks. They must be very thirsty out there, so I hope that one quenched your thirst.
I was waiting for a really big punchline. I thought, ooh, that was pretty classy. You've worked that into natural conversation, but no. You let me down.
Oh, it's okay. You'll be all right. They're there, dear. They're there.
Well, I'm going to just make it a really ugly, lumpy segue into the topic we want to talk about today. But first, we want to say doors are shut. They're closed. We're a closed book. We've closed up shop. That's it.
That's really dramatic.
It's all very extreme, isn't it? Hey, gang, we had a fantastic response to our opening of the doors to the Tradiepreneur program. So we talked about 20 spots and we filled them all. So thank you to everybody who put applications in. Awesome work on those of you who did actually qualify to join the program. And we've been onboarding a whole bunch of people. So exciting to see some different trades and different situations for people, different stages of their business journey and their personal goals. And so already some early results for some of those people. So super stoked to see people making change straight away, which is really what this show is all about. It's what this podcast is about, is helping you to make change and inspiring you to break the cycle of gut busting and money stress, as that lady says on our intro thingy.
You almost said it in her accent even.
I may have written the script, but anyway. So the bad news is doors are closed to the program. We won't have another intake for a while now. But, and I use the word but judiciously, if you are keen to make some change, we are building a wait list. So if you'd like to be notified of when the next intake is, basically, then we'll give you the deets at the end of the show on how you can get your name on the wait list. But in the meantime, Coxie, we want to actually talk about, a couple things. We want to talk about being open, now that we've talked about doors being closed.
Yes, we want to talk about people being open.
Okay, not doors.
No.
People are a bit like doors, aren't they?
No.
There's a place down here in Tassie, because, this is one of those episodes where I'm just going to bounce around like a pinball wizard. You right there, Coxie? Coxie's just had to mute herself. She's laughing so hysterically at my humour.
I was not. I had to cough.
She's actually choking on her water.
Outing me.
But anyway, there's a place down here that they've called their little property name. You put the sign on the gate and you call your property a name. It's called Mordor.
Mordor?
Which is a Lord of the Rings reference for those that don't know. It's the evil place where the evil lives and all that. It's called Mordor. Anywho, as you drive past this place, their entire fence is made up of old doors.
Oh, that's cool.
And I had to explain that joke to someone I was in the car with the other day. They're like, more door. Haha, that's funny. It's like, yeah, it's because of all the doors. Anywho, not everything is as
Does
obvious.
your property have a name?
It does, and I'm not sharing it so nobody can find me. I moved to Tasmania for a reason.
Have I ever told you the story of the time somebody pulled up on a Sunday afternoon? We were just coming through town. We thought we'd pop around and say g'day. I've never met them in my life. I did not know them. I know they do not listen to this podcast. Hello, if you are listening. It wasn't it was the first time, but it wasn't the last. It's happened a couple of times, and that's. For those who don't know, I used to be a blogger. As part of our building company, we built a blog, and I think people just felt they had a bit of an ownership to our home and who we are and what we do, and people would actually just literally come for a Sunday drive and say g'day.
Because your house is quite famous, Coxie.
It is quite famous. It is quite famous, annoyingly so. In games until you change your business structure and you want to be anonymous again.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
No, I've had
Go away.
But it doesn't change. Once you're out there, peeps.
You just need a bigger fence. You need to shut everybody out.
I need a
Coxie.
door fence.
And then you could call your place Mordor.
Bit different to what it's called now. Anyway, that was I digress. Let's talk about what we're here for today. We wanted to talk about being open. I guess it was a reflection of what we're seeing at the moment within the industry, and we sit, and I've said this before, we're really fortunate to do what we do and have the aspect that we have into so many trade businesses, both clients and non-clients. I think we get to see a lot of the industry as a whole. And so therefore we get a really good sense and a feel for where things are at for most business owners at the moment. And there is a whole lot of stress, whole lot of overwhelm, a whole lot of shit. It's really tough right now for lots of people. Our clients are expressing that to us. Thank you for knowing that we've always got your back. And we're seeing it everywhere else. It's not just our clients, it is everywhere. And so today we wanted to talk about how, first and foremost, how you cannot shoulder all of it yourself. I think we need a reminder. I think gents in particular, maybe the ladies just as much. However, we really wanted to talk to the gents today because that's where we're seeing it go wrong a lot at the moment. We can't carry all of that burden, all of that stress, all of the overwhelm, all of the exhaustion, all of the pressure on our own. We just simply can't. And if we don't make choice to share some of that load, unfortunately, our bodies make that choice for us. And it's always at the most difficult, challenging, worst timing you could possibly come up with. Your body will let you down, and it can be something rather simple, and we see actually quite a lot. You might break down in tears. You might be sitting in the ute right now listening to this. We've triggered you and you break down in tears. That happens a lot. You're not alone. Or it might be that you actually end up with a physical injury. Your knee blows out, or your shoulder goes to shit, or I don't know, you knock yourself with a hammer and break a finger. Something will go wrong physically within your body if you don't share the load that you were trying to shoulder on your own. Because our body just cannot take as much as we demand that it does take. So what we wanted to do today is encourage you to be a little bit vulnerable. For some of you, it will be the hardest thing that you do. We're all taught to be big, burly blokes and, you know, she'll be right, everything's fine, stiff upper lip and all that bullshit. What we actually want you to do is be okay with where you're at today. And we'd like to encourage you to share it with someone else. Because within that sharing, we see amazing things happen, don't we, Woz?
We do. One of the big things is a release of sometimes even just a tiny little bit of pressure. And as many of you could identify with, everything has a certain capacity for load. You know, I'll use some very cheesy, tradey references, but you think about a pressure tank on a compressor, or, you know, a circuit, an electrical circuit, a switchboard, whatever it might be. Everything has a capacity, and humans are no different. We have a capacity both physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And so most of you would know, or at least be able to appreciate, that, you know, a tank on a compressor, it has a safety valve. There's a pressure release valve, and that's set so that it releases pressure before the tank actually blows and gets past its capacity to hold stuff. Electrical circuits are the same. We have throw-out switches, you name it, okay? Hydraulic lines, everything. It's all about managing that pressure so that it's a positive force that we can harness rather than something that becomes destructive. There you go. There's my cheesy analogy for today, Coxie.
I liked it. It was a good one.
So if you think about us as people, Nick and I actually, in some respects, are kind of like human mechanics, because we see too many, I suppose, to make a judgment call on this, but we see quite a number of people who either the pressure release valve was stuck closed, or it's not fitted in the first place. And the circuit, the tank, the line, whatever, has so much pressure built up in it that it'll break at a weak point. You know, it's going to blow a fitting, or it's going to melt a wire somewhere. Wherever there's a weak point, that's where it will go. So for many of you, your weak point or your break point is going to be different. But for Coxie and I, we've seen lots of people blow a gasket. And it looks like sometimes, as Coxie said, you know, there's tears from men sitting in their ute. There's raging arguments with loved ones. There's health implications around, you know, perhaps even turning to substances to try and you know, manage that overload and dull the pressure. But that doesn't make the pressure any less. It actually probably exacerbates it and weakens the the ability to hold on to it even more. So I think the essence of this episode, Coxie, at least in my mind, is about encouraging you, listening to this podcast, to think about a little pressure release valve that you can fit to allow little bits to leak out. Because if you let some of the pressure leak out, then you can keep going a bit longer until you can address where the heck is this pressure coming from and start to trace it back to the source. Often I think we look at where the gasket blows and we think that's the problem. I need a tighter gasket. And that goes back to the stiff upper lip bullshit that you know, if we leak any pressure, then we're weak and we're broken. And, you know, any cracks in our pressure tank, well, that's a sign that we're not strong enough. We need a stronger tank. And that's dumb. That is not sustainable. That's very destructive, because you build a stronger and stronger tank and you put more and more steel around that thing and pump more and more pressure into it, the explosion is going to be catastrophic when it happens, because it will happen. And we've seen it happen to some of the strongest people that are so stoic and I can handle anything kind of people. And then you find them, they've secretly blown up somewhere, and it's like, whatever happened to so-and-so? And then you find out, and it's absolutely heartbreaking for us as mentors and coaches, that for the sake of opening the door a little bit, letting a bit of pressure out, letting someone else in, I guess, is the flip side of that, can be the difference between a blow-up, a meltdown, a breakdown, a health catastrophe, you name it, and actually being able to continue on for another 30, 60, 90 days and make some change. You know, get into our Facebook group, get into see a psychologist, get into having a chat with a mate or a fellow business owner who's been there, done that, learned the tough lessons, and actually avoid that, what essentially is a catastrophic blow up in some other area of your life. Listeners, listen.
That's a bit of a tongue twister straight out of the gate.
I know. We have something we want to talk to you about, gang, and it's related to mountains of paperwork. So if you are sick and tired of those mountains of paperwork, I probably shouldn't laugh, and the stress around getting paid, issuing invoices on time, figuring out how much cash you've got coming in and going out, reconciling bank accounts, blah, blah, blah. I feel tired just talking about that, Mr. Coxie.
I want to yawn.
Then we're actually really stoked to be able to share a new solution to all of that with you called Parpera.
I want to spell it.
Oh, you spell it, Coxie. Okay.
I'm ready. I'm jumping here. That's Parpera. Parpera. I love it. It's got a ring to it. Now, the gang at Parpera have put together a coordinated solution to your banking, invoicing, cash flow management, tax reporting, and more. I already feel relieved. How are you feeling?
It's a load off my shoulders, Coxie.
Me too. You can manage your business bank account, issue invoices, receive payments faster, schedule invoicing reminders, and even capture receipts to make tax time easier. Hallelujah. All within one single app.
What, I don't need 7 apps and a shoebox for all of that?
No. Not even the ute floor.
All right. So Parpera is a super cool app. And as a Tradies in Business listener, you get an exclusive 90 days, so that's 3 months for those who aren't sort of au fait with maths and stuff, free trial offer. Basically, you get 3 months free to check it out. All you've got to do is use the code 90DFTradie, so that's 90DF for Freddie, Tradie, up until the 30th of June 2022 when you download the app from the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Make sure you read the T's and C's with all of this stuff. But go and check it out, download it, get your 90 days free. Have a go, have a play. It might actually solve a lot of problems for you.
I think we need to talk about what actually happens when we open up and we're a little vulnerable. And I think we need to talk about it because it's important that you understand what might happen next and what you can do when somebody's vulnerable with you. And what usually happens is the opportunity to share opens up the other person that you're sharing with, because quite frequently they're dealing with a lot of pressure, a lot of strain, a lot of overwhelm themselves. And you allow them the space to even just confirm or agree with you. And so I actually really wanted to wrap up today's podcast learnings with some tips on what to do when somebody is vulnerable with you, particularly if it's in return, but regardless. If somebody's chosen you to share with you how they are feeling or what they're going through at the moment, all I really want you to do is make it okay. And that can be simply as, well, shit, that sounds really tough. I'm sorry you're going through that right now. That's all it needs to be. It's just an acknowledgement of what they're feeling. It doesn't need to be overwhelming. It doesn't need to be fussy. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's just meeting somebody where they're at and allowing them to take that space for what they need right now. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to be a problem solver. Likewise, you know, if I share with Warwick and we're really fortunate to have one another to share with, particularly around our personal stuff all the time. And it's okay just to be there and hear. Don't solve it. Don't do what we do as tradies and try and fix it. Just listen and acknowledge where they're at. So I encourage you to please, if somebody's open enough and vulnerable enough to share with you, even if it's in reply to something you've finally been able to share, just meet them where they're at. Let them know it's okay.
Job done, Coxie.
It's going to be a tough one for a few listening. Please know that Warwick and I are always here for you. You are not alone. This is common, particularly as a business owner. It is something many of us go through. Warwick and I have even had our own moments in our own businesses. And we have a group of awesome tradies who are very supportive. We've not yet and will not have any kind of space in which people aren't encouraged to be vulnerable and then supported when they are. And that's in our Facebook group. It's a pretty cool place to play, actually. We really encourage you to pop on over to Facebook and find the Profitable Tradies group. Less tools and more lifestyle. It sounds like a big promise, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, jump in the group. A lot of our tradiepreneurs hang out in there as well. Most of them are members of that group, and many of them will jump in and comment and give their 2 bobs worth on their experience. So there's some fantastic business owners in there who have more than likely been where you are if you're listening to this episode and you're thinking, whew, are you guys talking to me? then many of our tradiepreneurs have been there and perhaps are there at the moment and working through some stuff with our support. So feel free to jump in the group. If that's too confronting for you, then as Nick said, reach out to us. And we're always happy to support people who want to make a change, who want to figure out, it's like, hey, my tank's full, there's a lot of pressure, I don't think I've got a valve, how can I release some of this? And we can certainly give you some tips and share some insights on what other people have done that's worked for them. And in the meantime, it's okay to feel like crap some days. You don't have to be together and, on top of the world all of the time. Don't believe the bullshit on Instagram and Facebook.
Isn't that the truth? Now, I really wanted to end on a bit of a positive and let you know, yes, our doors are closed, but we are creating a wait list for the next time we do open our doors. Oh, and we have some extra exciting news off the back of that as well. So if you are interested later this year in finding some change within your trade business, we would welcome you to pop on over to the website www.tradiesandbusiness.com.au/apply. There's a short few questions there for you to fill in. If you just fill those in, we will register your interest. We will get in touch so that you know that we have received your application. We will then reach out to you, let you know we've got it, and we'll pop you on the wait list, and we'll look at opening the doors again a little later this year. Now I feel like we need a big drum roll and some big excitement now. It's time for me to go on a world tour and cuddle everybody that I meet. Please don't be scared off if you're not a hugger. I'll respect your space. Just ask some of our tradiepreneur ladies. Right, we're doing a world tour, Warwick. We are going to travel the world that is Queensland and New South Wales, Victoria and Adelaide. Oh, and Tassie. We're going to Tassie
and
too.
ACT.
Oh, we are too.
Yeah, we're hitting almost all the states of Australia.
Sorry to Western Australia and Northern Territory. We are coming. We're coming.
Yes. We are doing our Australian world tour, tongue-in-cheek, of course, in true Tradies in Business style. It's time for us to be seen in real life. I'm actually going to have a shave and find some pants and leave the house and travel, as Coxie just chokes on. Jokes on that thought. So we are going to announce all of our dates and locations and everything in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that. But you'll be able to come and see us live. We'll be hitting most of the major capital cities and a couple of regional centres as well. So you'll have a fantastic opportunity to get on down and meet us and actually take a bunch of value. We're going to run some kick-ass sessions on how to transform your trade business. So keep an eye out for those details. And certainly, as Coxie said, if you would like to go onto the wait list for our next intake, just hit the website /apply. It's not publicly visible on there, so make sure you type in the website address, tradiesandbusiness.com.au /apply, and pop your name in there, and we'll stick you on the wait list, and we'll let you know when you can next actually jump in and start making change and being vulnerable in a supported environment, Coxie.
Lots of cuddles.
Lots of cuddles. I'll just give you props.
I love my cuddles.
Take care, y'all, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening.
Hooroo.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesandbusiness.com.au.